Do you have a lot of negative thoughts? Well, you're going to love this. And if you're afraid of always screwing things up, then you can use that in this unique strategy I'm going to teach you while you watch me draw this today. And by doing these 7 really simple steps, you can never fail your art life ever again. Here's how it works. Now, for some people that you know, they might be able to think about all the joy, all the success, all of the satisfaction that they'll achieve through doing what they want to do, which happens to probably be exactly what you want to do, right? And for them, that works. But for you, that's not working, is it? And you wish that you could just move towards a goal. And I want to go ahead and present you with this really unique counter strategy for that, because instead of you working towards everything that you want to achieve in life, we're going to do the complete polar opposite. And so this strategy I want you to follow along with me today with is called a post-mortem analysis. So instead of us thinking about everything that could go right, we're actually going to flip that on its head, and we're going to think about everything that could go wrong with it. And so while you watch this video today, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to implore you this. Please have a pen and paper. Please have something to write down and pause this video and go through these steps. Because if you are somebody who is always consumed with doubt, if you find yourself consumed with negative thoughts, if you find that you lack confidence to actually execute on what you want to do, friend, or if you have yourself surrounded by people that don't think that you will do this, this is going to change everything. And if you've never met me before, my name is Dr. Sean. Welcome to the Art Mentor. And so let's get into these 7 simple steps. So follow along with me here. Starting off with step 1 here, please don't underestimate this and think that this is going to be like every other video you've ever watched before about how to design your life, because it's not. But we do have to start with, what goal do you want to achieve? And so what I would challenge you with right now is just to figure out, what are 1 to 3 things that you would love to do, all right? So if that is that you have this amazing manga concept, okay? If it is that you would love to be somebody that sells at conventions, if it is that you would love to be somebody who goes ahead and works on a AAA game at a studio, that'd be amazing. Or let's say that you wanted to make your own studio, write them down. These should feel, in order for this to work now, please, you have to actually say things on this that are going to scare you a little bit. Because honestly, if your goals don't scare you a little bit, they're not big enough. I've worked with people like this before where I ask them what their dreams are, and it's like, okay, well, you can kind of do that in the next few months. It's not that big of a goal. But dream big, my friend. This should feel out of reach. It should feel a little bit impossible, but not totally impossible to you either. Make sure that these are really big, slightly scary goals, because this is going to serve as the launching point as step 1. So write them all down. And if you need a minute, pause this video, and then please go ahead and rejoin us as we are going to go ahead and now do everything different than you've ever heard this explained before. All right, step 2 here. Negative thinkers unite. This is for you. Now we're just going to pretend that everything goes absolutely to hell. All right, so in this disaster drill scenario here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at those 3 goals. And I want you to go ahead and consider, how could you burn that all to the ground? And so very specifically, I want you to come up with some of the worst reasons, some of the worst ways that whole goal just totally goes to crap, okay? And very specifically, I want you to write down, what are 5 ways that you would absolutely screw up that goal? And I want to be very specific. What are things that you would do, not other people? I mean, obviously, like if a meteor hits the earth, that's nothing. If AI becomes sentient and kills us all, wipes us all off the earth, that's outside of your control. Unless you help feed that beast, then yeah, thanks for helping out with that. But otherwise, that's not your fault. So 5 things right now, write them down. 5 things that you would do to totally screw up that goal. So here's what this could look like. Let's say that you made a YouTube channel. You could be like, oh my God, well, I'm gonna go ahead and make videos for the next 5 years and I will get absolutely no views on them. Nobody will ever watch that other than my Nana. Or maybe I make a video and it goes viral for the totally wrong reason, and all of a sudden I'm the most canceled person on the internet. So let's say, for example, you want to make a comic. Write down some stuff like, there will never be one single eyeball that will touch the page of all of my hard work. Or what if I do something and it's incredibly offensive and I didn't even know about it, and now I've got loads and loads of haters, like just droves of them. I'm the most despised artist on the internet. Let's say that you want to work in a AAA game company too. One day, I'm just gonna go ahead and just run through the place naked, and I'm gonna get fired for it. Or what if one day while I'm at that job, I get caught always watching Netflix all the time, and then they're gonna fire me because I'm not on task and everything I deliver to them is total crap. See what I'm doing here? Come up with literally the worst case scenarios that could happen in every single one of those goals. It is important for you to consider this. And again, for those of you that doubt yourself, you probably have a few ideas of your own. Please, 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 for the purpose of this step though, you have to go ahead and make sure that you think about like literally what would be within your control and would be an absolute disaster for you. Step 3. Oh, we're not out of negativity land yet, y'all. But this is not intended to go ahead and make you feel bad. This is going to help you design a future that you want. Watch this. Now we're going to go into step 3 though. And this is where I'm going to ask you to take a look at all those disaster scenarios. And I want you to make a running list of every single step that you could do to actually make those come true. So as an example, if you're somebody that wants to start an art business, right? And you want to go ahead and freelance, you could say things like, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ghost all my clients. I will never reach out to them, or I'm going to deliver them really crappy work. I will never try to look for clients. Every single one of these statements, you might notice me saying it because I'm doing intentionally, I will. We need you to be in control. I will ignore my clients every single time that they reach out to me. I will never try hard and never try to push myself to do anything new. If you were somebody that was going to sell at conventions, you might write down something like, okay, I will never look for more conventions in my area. I will never consider going outside of my 70-mile comfort zone where most people exist, live and die by statistics. I will make stuff that absolutely nobody has any interest in. I will never ever cost for anything that I'm selling, so I never know if I actually made a profit. I will only ever be able to sell the absolute cheapest things that actually nobody really wants. Or I will only go ahead and try to sell things that are horribly offensive and will get me kicked out of a convention and therefore put on some type of a blacklist. And again, I need you to do this for literally each and every single goal at step 3 right now, because it's important for you to break those down, those fears and those undesirable outcomes into actions that you would actually be responsible for. Again, if your big fear was that you were going to get fired from working at an amazing game studio, what are you not going to do, okay? Well, you know what you're not going to do? Go ahead and have an affair with the boss's daughter and piss her off so that you get fired. Or maybe you're not going to go ahead and sleep at work instead of doing your work. Literally write down everything that you could do to bring that undesired reality into reality. This should almost like make you laugh a little bit, and that's important because we are not done yet. All right, here comes step 4. We're going to start to break away from negativity, and I want to bring us from the shadow into the light. All right, y'all? Now we will analyze that disaster drill. So take a look at everything that you just wrote out. You're going to ask yourself this simple question. How likely is it that that's actually going to happen? How plausible is it that you are actually going to do that? And so just take a look at it. Again, if you wanted to go ahead and go work at Marvel Comics, what are the chances that you're going to just go streaking through a board member meeting? How likely is that to happen? Or if you want to go ahead and work with private clients, what are the chances that you're going to ignore everything that they say every single time, and every single time that you do it, you're just going to go ahead and want to use AI to do it because you don't want to and you just want to rip them off and take a paycheck? How likely is that to happen? And so very specifically, I'm asking, are you in control of that one? Because here's the big takeaway from this one. As you go through each and every single step in step 3, as well as every disaster scenario from step 2, I want you to just understand this. Putting this all out there, bringing your fears, your doubts, your anxieties out of the shadow into the light, writing them down, it helps you begin to conquer this beast. Because the devil, my friend, is not in the details. It is in your imagination of the details. Because when you are arrested by every single thought flying through your head about how you're going to screw everything up, guess what? You're going to move towards that. But if you do this strategy right here, and we've still got 3 more steps left, so hang with me on this one, you begin to design a counter strategy towards it. And so at this point, I kind of want to put this on to you, which is that you are going to imagine everything way worse than it will ever actually show up. And I'm going to prove this to you because Stanford University actually did a survey about this. And what they found was that of everybody that was studied, 97% of people's fears never came true. So what does that tell you again? 97% of your fears will never come true, but your imagination is gonna hack you, my friend, because as a creative, your imagination is your best tool and your greatest enemy. And now we are equipped, now that we're looking at all these, and you should be kind of laughing at them, they should seem really silly, now we can go ahead and devise our counter strategy. Now here comes the best step for you. So step 5 is that we are going to take an offensive stance against your fears and against your failure. Because now that you've got it all itemized, you can see it all out there. So now, take a look at what you did in step 3. You're going to write the opposite action. So if you're freelancing and you're afraid that you're going to send people horribly offensive stuff that they are never going to like, you're going to write down something like this. I will always make sure that I follow the spec of everything that my client gives me. If you are afraid that you are going to deliver the worst, crappiest work to your boss in an indie game studio that you really want to work for someday, then you're going to write down, okay, I will follow the standards of every single project that I'm given. If your desire, my friend, is to make outrageously good YouTube content and you're afraid that absolutely nobody is ever going to care about anything you say or anything that you create and anything that you want to talk about, then you are going to say that I am going to analyze each one of my videos, every single 10 videos, to make sure that this is good content that people want to watch, and I will course correct it if it is not. That's what I've been doing for the last 5 years. And by the way, if you've been along for this journey or you want to join me as well in helping you in your art success, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe because I'm here for you each and every week, my friend. And if this is helping you so far, share with somebody that you know and hit that hype button to let YouTube know. Push this out. This is a good video. Now, what is so important about step 5 here? Every single time that you break down these steps, it helps you dissolve your anxiety about it because anxiety exists in obscurity. In other words, when you don't know something, that is where anxiety creeps in and it lingers and it just becomes a leech for all your creativity and all of your positive energy. So now, looking at that list, go ahead and make the complete polar opposite version of it so that you know exactly what to do each and every single time that you think you're going to fail. Because here's another reality for you, friend, is that if you can imagine yourself totally royally screwing everything up in the worst case possible, then you have to also entertain the idea that it could go right. And that's what we want to move you towards. But now this also blesses you something that I also want to talk to you about in the next step. So around this time in the video, I bet that you're probably thinking something along the lines of like, okay, Doc, whatever you say, Sean, all right, I'll just move towards this happy-go-lucky crap that you're talking about. And there lies the problem. Not that you're thinking that, I don't blame you. I used to be like that too. But here's what's gonna help you sincerely on this note and from everything that we've done. You are going to unlock an amazing, bing, new achievement for yourself. Because everybody's all about all these quick hacks and tips and tricks and quick fixes, patches, follow-ups, all this positive stuff. But honestly, as I've studied it before, the highest performing people also have standards for what they will never do. So in step 6, you're now going to write your standards for what you will absolutely never accept. So for example, myself as a freelance artist, I have a standard that I will never leave my clients hanging if something comes up, if I get sick, if there's a death, I will never leave them hanging. I also have a standard in my practice that I make it my fault My obligation every single time I work on a client work is I need to convince myself to like it. So I would say I will never just complete the spec exactly as desired. One of my most powerful influences over my freelance journey here is I tell myself that the client doesn't know the best version of their artwork until I deliver it to them. Feel free to steal that. You might say, I will never publish a YouTube video without double checking myself and actually watching it to make sure it's not a complete snore fest. If you're selling conventions, a standard for you might be, I will never go to a new convention without making 3 new artworks, and I will never go ahead and repeat the same content for more than 3 years without proof that people are still interested in that IP. See, the biggest flex that you could ever do right now in this 6th step is to actually put down your whole list of no-nos, your nevers, and these become your standards. And a lot of people have trouble developing positive standards, but positive standards are the result of your unaccepted standards. So start there, and then we can go into our next step. Now in step 7, we're gonna go ahead and combine everything that we just did, and you should have a pretty good idea. Based on this unique strategy, I'd like you to please go ahead, and this is going to sound morbid, but write your obituary. Because I really strongly think that you can tell a lot about a person and what they did or lack thereof in their life by their obituary. And it would be like, Ted died this day, succeeded by their wife and dog and parakeet. And they went to work and they owned a home and they were a good worker and they died, and the services will be here. And I always get sad if I see something like that. I'm like, that's all people had to say about you? Like, you had an entire life, like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 50 to 100 years plus of life, and you got like 7 sentences about everything that you did? Man, what would that be like for you? So literally, like, write your bad obituary right now, okay? Just what you wish that nobody would ever write about you when you die. How awful would it be if you were still alive and you could read that and you had to suffer through actually understanding that nothing happened in your life? Like, what is the worst case scenario for you? And then, after you're done with that, in step 7 here, let's go ahead and let's flip that on its head. Let's write down the obituary for the person that you want to be, okay? So for the person that you wanted to become, for the things that you wanted to do, and oh my God, this person was great. They went ahead and they were a consultant on 20 different type of AAA games, and they also used to sell at conventions, and then before that, they were freelancing and doing really great. They published a book. They made their own art tutorials. They helped give back to the community by making free lessons on YouTube. So think about everything that you wish you would have done and put that down. Make that substantial. That therefore becomes a testimonial to what you will do in your life, because you also understand, looking at the bad obituary, I don't want this. And I want you to, when you feel down, to read both of those. And then ask yourself, which one of these do I want a little bit more? And then go back to your previous 6 steps and say, well, am I working towards the bad obituary? Or am I working towards the good obituary? Because your energy is only going in one direction. Now, from everything that we've been going over so far, one of the big things I want to point out is that you're probably still going to self-sabotage, aren't you? You self-sabotaging connoisseur. That's who you are, isn't it? And I get it, because look, even when you're going towards something that you really want, no matter how much you want it, no matter how rewarding it will be, you're still going to get in your own way. And then that kind of brings up, well, how are you going to take care of that, and how will you combat that? Because I just want to be real with you, when you learn how to kill your self-sabotage, you're going to open up the doors to doing actually all this stuff. But that's a problem for you, isn't it? So go ahead and watch this video right here to learn the systems that will absolutely annihilate all of your self-sabotaging routines. If this helped you, please share with somebody that you know. Thanks so much, and see you next time.